We've all been there, right? That light bulb moment where you think this business idea, this could be huge EE. But, and this is the big one, how do you actually know if it's going to work, like really turn a profit? That's what we're diving into today.
You hit the nail on the head. Passion is great, essential even. But without a solid understanding of the financials, even the most groundbreaking ideas can fall flat.
It's about separating those pipe dreams from the ideas that can actually pay the bills. And that's where how to test if your business will make money, this guide we're looking at, really comes in. One of the first things that jumped out at me, honestly, was the focus on data over gut feeling.
It's like they say, measure twice, cut once. You don't want to pour your heart, your soul, and let's face it, your savings into something that's not financially viable. That's where a feasibility study is so crucial.
So it's not just about whether your idea is good, it's about whether it can actually, make money.
100%. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion, your target market, and your profit goals all align. Like, let's say you're passionate about, I don't know, handcrafted furniture, right? You're making these beautiful, unique pieces. But what if, and this is a big if, what if your target market just can't afford your prices? Or say, the volume you need to produce to actually meet demand, it's just not feasible. A good feasibility study, it would highlight those issues right away.
A financial reality check before things go too far.
Exactly.
Now, the guide also dives into a concept that I think trips a lot of people up. The break-even point. Why is this concept, this break-even point, so essential?
Okay, so think of the break-even point, like your financial starting line. It's the moment you shift from, well, losing money to actually covering all of your costs. Until you hit that point, you're in the red. After that, well, that's when you start generating profit.
And to figure out that magic number, that break-even point, we need to understand the relationship between our fixed costs, our variable costs, and of course, revenue, right?
Absolutely. So your fixed costs, those are like your financial rent things, like actually renting a workspace or salaries, things that stay pretty much the same regardless of how much you're selling. And then you've got your variable costs, which are, well, they fluctuate. They change based on how much you produce or sell.
So if fixed costs are the rent, then variable costs are like, what, the utilities? They go up the more you use.
That's a great way to put it.
So give me an example. How does this play out in a real business? Let's stick with the handcrafted furniture idea since we're already there.
Okay, perfect. So let's say you've crunched the numbers and you figure out that your break-even point is selling, say, 10 pieces of furniture a month. Now, this doesn't mean you're automatically profitable at 10 pieces. It just means you're covering your costs. To actually start making money, you need to sell more than those 10 pieces. And that's where really understanding your pricing, your market, that becomes crucial.
So knowing your break-even point, it helps you set realistic sales goals and make sure you're pricing your products or services in a way that makes sense. It's like having a financial compass.
I love that, a financial compass.
But what happens when you're past that break-even point?
Yeah.
How do you make sure you're not just, surviving, but actually thriving? So we've talked about hitting that break-even point, right? But what's next? How do we go from just, keeping our heads above water to really like riding the wave? How to test if your business will make money. It dives into that too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And this is where the guide brings up something that, well, it might sound a little intimidating at first. The pro-forma cash flow statement.
Pro-forma cash flow statement. Okay, yeah, that does sound a little, I don't know, a little intense. Break it down for me. What is this thing and why should I care?
Think of it like a financial forecast for your business. Instead of just hoping for the best, you're actually mapping out your projected income and expenses. And I mean everything, sales, loan payments, even that unexpected plumbing bill. You're looking at it all month by month.
So you're not just seeing if you're profitable at the end of the year on paper, but you're making sure you have the cash on hand to, actually pay the bills as you go.
Exactly. It's like making sure you've got enough gas in the tank to reach your destination, not just enough to, start the engine. This is so important for any business, especially when you're just starting out and that cash flow, well, it can be a little unpredictable.
Right. And the guide, it talks about a 9-step process for creating this statement. Is it really as complicated as it sounds?
Honestly, the guide does a great job of breaking it down into manageable steps. I've gone through this process myself, and I have to say, it's incredibly valuable. It really forces you to think through every part of your business and anticipate those potential challenges, before they become major headaches.
So it's like a financial fire drill. You're practicing different scenarios so you're ready for anything.
Exactly. Let's say you're thinking about hiring your first employee. It's a big step, a really exciting one. But before you do, you can use your pro forma cash flow statement to see how that new salary is going to affect your overall financial picture. Will you need to boost sales, maybe delay another investment? This gives you the power to make those smart, informed decisions.
Like avoiding those oh shoot moments when you suddenly realize you forgot about something or, overcommitted.
Yeah.
Are there any other common pitfalls that people should watch out for when they're creating these projections?
One thing I see a lot is, well, entrepreneurs can be a bit optimistic, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to those sales projections. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new venture, but it's so important to make sure those projections are grounded in reality. Solid market research is key.
Don't just pull those numbers out of thin air, right? Do your homework.
Exactly. And on the flip side, another common mistake is underestimating expenses. There are always going to be unexpected costs that pop up in business. Always. So building in that buffer, for those contingencies, it's crucial.
Expect the best.
Yeah.
But prepare for the worst, as they say. You don't want to be caught off guard by a surprise rent increase or equipment that breaks down unexpectedly. Speaking of being prepared, are there any other tools or, strategies that this guide recommends for entrepreneurs who are really serious about this whole financial planning thing?
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, break-even analysis, cash flow projections, but something tells me there's even more to uncover when it comes to making sure a business idea is, financially solid.
Oh, there's always another layer, right? And that's something I really like about how to test if your business will make money. It doesn't just scratch the surface. It gets into some really interesting, really useful strategies that can give entrepreneurs a real edge.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, one that comes to mind is sensitivity analysis. It's basically taking those financial projections we talked about and stress testing them, seeing how they hold up against different scenarios.
So instead of having one static plan, you're saying, okay, what if this happens or what if that happens? You're creating different versions based on different possibilities.
Exactly. Think about that handcrafted furniture business again. What happens if the price of lumber suddenly goes way up? Or, on the flip side, what if demand goes through the roof and you haven't prepared for it? By playing out these what-if scenarios, you can identify those potential weak points and, more importantly, come up with a plan B or C or D.
It's like you're playing financial chess, thinking several moves ahead.
I like that. You're not just reacting to the market, you're anticipating those shifts and changes and planning strategically.
Which reminds me, the guide also talked about scenario planning. Is that the same as sensitivity analysis, or is that something different?
So sensitivity analysis is more about tweaking those variables within your existing plan, whereas scenario planning, well, it's about taking a step back and looking at the big picture. It's about identifying those external factors that could impact your business. Economic downturns, new competitors popping up, even those black swan events like a global pandemic, and then thinking through how those might affect you.
So you're essentially asking, okay, if this happens, how will it impact my business and what can I do to prepare?
Exactly. It's about being proactive, not reactive. Imagine you're running that furniture company, and all of a sudden, 3D printing technology is becoming more and more accessible, right? Do you look at that as a threat, or do you see it as an opportunity? Scenario planning helps you explore those different possibilities and adapt your strategy.
It's like future-proofing your business. I like it. Now, I know that some entrepreneurs, they might hear all this talk about numbers and projections and feel a little, overwhelmed.
Yeah.
How do you find that balance between this data-driven approach and, that gut feeling, that intuition that's so important for entrepreneurs?
That's such a good point, and it's something the guide actually addresses really well. It recognizes that gut feeling, that entrepreneurial instinct. It's incredibly valuable. I mean, that's often where those great ideas come from in the first place, right?
You can't really analyze your way into a brilliant idea.
Exactly. But what you can do is use data to validate and refine those instincts. It's not about replacing your gut. It's about making it even stronger.
Finding that sweet spot, listening to your gut, but backing it up with solid data and analysis.
Exactly. And that's really what I hope people take away from this conversation, from this whole deep dive. Building a successful business, it takes creativity, passion, and a good dose of financial smarts.
It's about having the courage to go after those big ideas, but also the wisdom to test them, to refine them, and to make sure they can really, truly thrive out there in the real world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You've got the right tools, you're willing to put in the work, well, you can turn that $1 million idea into a reality.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of financial feasibility. We hope you found it insightful, empowering, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring those ideas, keep asking those tough questions, and keep that entrepreneurial spirit burning bright.